Coming up on this edition of Carolina Insider, we'll take a look into 2 dangerous social media trends affecting local schools. Also find out what events are happening around campus in the near future. But first, changes are coming for one low-income housing area in Columbia.
I feel like gentrification is like a good and a bad thing.
Carolina Insider starts now. Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Kaci Latimore. Our top story today, demolition gets underway again for some of the most dilapidated public housing in the city of Columbia. Not long ago, it was Gonzalez Gardens. This week, excavators began taking down Allen and Benedict Court. Our very own Maggie Davis takes a look into the issues surrounding the demolition and the redevelopment process.
One of Columbia's oldest historical landmarks is on its last legs before it's torn down and completely redeveloped. City workers hired by Columbia Housing have begun to dismantle the buildings of Allen Benedict Court and are bringing demolition equipment on site this week. Allen Benedict Court was an affordable housing complex located right next to the Benedict College and Allen University. For the past 2 years, the 16-acre property has laid vacant and locked off to the outside. In 2019, after a horrific tragedy occurred, its 411 residents were immediately evacuated, leaving everything they owned behind. In the next 2 years, developers plan to construct a different style of neighborhood in place of Allen Benedict Court.
That's a part of like gentrification, so it's just like that's just what they doing. And I feel like gentrification is like a good and a bad thing because like you displacing other people, but at the same time you're making the community better.
Allen Benedict Court was home to low and moderate income families. Vice President of Development Cindy Herrera says Columbia Housing is now focused on constructing homes for residents with diverse incomes.
When we do different levels of incomes on the same site, we end up with more positive communities many times.
The community seems hesitant towards the Housing Authority's plan of introducing mixed income residents.
I feel like they're going about it the wrong way. Like they should make more affordable housing. Like don't put buildings right here if people that you see walking down the street can't afford them.
Columbia Housing states that transparency is key, and they will continue to provide long-term affordable housing. Instead of the 240 units currently in Allen Benedict Court, the redeveloped property will have 360 for seniors, families, and the workforce. Columbia Housing will also provide rental assistance and fixed rental rates for most of the units. What used to be suburban brick row houses will soon be an urban design that is very different to what the community is used to. Columbia Housing guarantees that construction will be complete mid-year 2023, allowing for occupants to move in by the end of December that year. For Carolina Insider, I'm Maggie Davis.
Thanks, Maggie. We turn now to destruction of another kind. 2 viral social media trends are having harmful effect on both local schools and teachers. Here with that in the buzz is Corbett Glick. Corbett?
Thanks, Kaci. We're here to talk about the latest troubles with TikTok. Since launching in 2016, the social media platform has grown exponentially in popularity, especially among teenagers. It's instigated a number of cultural trends, but the most recent is making national news. Hashtag Devious Licks has been trending on TikTok since the middle of September. It involves students in schools vandalizing school property, specifically bathrooms. It's unclear how this trend started, but it has led to numerous school suspensions, expulsions, and even criminal charges. These so-called Devious Licks have been a problem throughout the country, with cases happening in California, Pennsylvania, and even right here in South Carolina. Manager and lead analyst of our very own Social Media Insights Lab, Kate Park, believes that students might not see the ramifications in person and on the platform.
I think it opens up a louder conversation about maybe less so monitoring their content and monitoring, what they're posting and policing that content, and more so having an honest conversation about what they're interested in, like know what's going on into their day-to-day lives.
TikTok has taken down all Devious Licks content and hopes to stop these trends. Back to you, Kaci.
Thanks, Corbett. A new statewide investment program designed to promote tech startups is making news. Known as South Carolina Rising, the development program was developed by the U of SC. The goal is to drive inclusion, innovation, and economic development across the state. Funding will be made possible by the university's partnership with the South Carolina Research Foundation and the federal grant of $400,000. And finally, we have fun ideas for you this week in this week's Carolina calendar. This evening, the Great American Whiskey Fair takes place in the Grand Hall at 701 Whaley. It's from 5 to 9, but watch out, this one is a bit pricey. It costs $50 to $100 to attend. Monday, you can head to the Horseshoe to attend face-to-face stargazing at the Milton Observatory from 8 to 10. And finally, in celebration of the 175 years of the University of South Carolina's historic founding, save the date to attend homecoming events coming up next week, Monday through Saturday. That is it for this edition of Carolina Insider, a production here in the Kennedy Greenhouse studio in the School of Journalism and Mass Communications. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here next week.